Hey you guys! Welcome to a very special game, one of two which I personally believe played a big part in defining who I am today. Many of you won't have heard of this game, but I'll just let the opening play. Welcome to Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. So, for a bit of background, this game was made in 1997 during the early days of the PlayStation, and as you saw from the opening, it is by Namco. It was basically Namco's attempt at creating a mascot that would actually, match up with Mario and Sonic, whilst you would say Pac-Man is a bit outdated. In my opinion, it's extremely outdated. But Klonoa, unfortunately, never made it big, mainly because there were other much more popular games. Oh, my name isn't Alf, it's Alex. There we go. Yeah, there are many other more popular games at the time. This game slipped under everyone's radar. Many people haven't heard of it, but it's a game that is extremely, it's well worth checking out. Well worth experiencing, I'd say. So, I'm going to be reading quite a bit of the dialogue. The game uses its own kind of gibberish language. If you've ever played Rayman 2 or Banjo-Kazooie, you'd be well familiar with the idea of games using sound instead of actual vocals to convey, voice acting. This game does that too, and in my opinion, it's one of the best games to ever do that. Whilst I'm going to be reading out the dialogue for a lot of lines, there will be some scenes that I will actually be staying quiet for. That's because, I'm just going to say this now, I will not be able to do these scenes justice. I'll let you guys know. I'm going to be reading it out because I know that a lot of you will be listening to the video rather than reading it, but there are going to be some points where I'm going to ask you to stop what you're doing, watch what happens in the game, because these scenes aren't very long, but they are extremely well done. With that said, let's get a move on. I'm gonna read the opening text here, but then I'm gonna let the rest of the opening play by itself. It's strange. Sometimes I can't remember my dreams, though I'm sure I saw them. Where do these dreams go? But I remember this one dream as clearly as if it were reflected in a mirror. Okay. Here we go with the first level. What? What's that? It's from Bell Hill. Sounds like something crashed. It's just like my dream. Let's go, Klonoa. Okay, so I'm sure the first question on everyone's mind is, what exactly is Klonoa? Some people may think he looks like a cat, but those long ears suggest a rabbit. Now, Klonoa, you also may think that he looks a lot like a Sonic character. Klonoa is a Breezegalian, and this is his hometown of Breezegale. So the Klonoa series, rather than doing what Sonic does by taking existing animals and simply anthropomorphizing them, Klonoa rather creates characters' designs based on the character's personality, without actually, relating them specifically to real-world animals. They may resemble real-world animals, but Klonoa is very much its own thing. It doesn't take a great deal of inspiration. It doesn't say that its characters are things that we know in this world. And I'm just going to say this right now, even though the characters look the same, Klonoa and Sonic have basically nothing in common. I won't say too much about this right now, but Sonic is a series that is heavily focused around science fiction, with, the occasional element of fantasy. Klonoa is pure fantasy.
Halt! Who goes there? Here! Up here! How dare you go through my tower without even saying hello? Hold it right there! Hoof! Oof! Hey kid, you shouldn't come sneaking around here.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Humph! Apology accepted. I'm Baloo, the Mason. So, have you looked at my beautiful Lefise outside? It's my masterpiece.
Lefise?
Don't know her, eh? She's the legendary diva who sings the Song of Rebirth.
Nope, I didn't know that.
Kids these days. You see this tower here? I'm building it so that I can reach the Moon Kingdom. You see, that's where Lefise lives.
Oh, I wonder if it's really possible to reach the Moon Kingdom with this.
Silence!
Yipe! Klonoa, I think we should get going. Oh, okay. We gotta go.
I see. Well, take care.
I will. Thanks. So long. Good luck, Baloo.
Thanks.
So yeah, the characters here are unique to the Klonoa franchise entirely. Now, I must say I'm not 100%... Oh yeah, I haven't really been explaining the way the game plays yet. You've been watching me play it this whole time. I'm trying to go through the game relatively quickly, so that I don't have to, I'm not boring you guys. But this game, as you can see, it's a platformer. It's actually one of the very first platformers to use the 2.5D concept, where the environments are all 3D, but the gameplay is entirely 2D. And in my opinion, no game has ever done this better than Klonoa. You'll find lots of examples from Nintendo of games with 3D graphics but 2D gameplay. But how many of them let you, show you camera views like this? How many of them aren't just locked to the same 2D path, where the only thing about it that's 3D is the graphics? Everything in this game is built, as though it would be a 3D game, but because the camera is designed to update automatically whenever I move around a corner or something, the gameplay can retain its 2D-ness without, actually requiring the levels to be 2D. That said, not much longer to go at this level. Klonoa's main abilities, as you've seen, include grabbing and throwing enemies, as well as jumping off them to form a double jump. This game is a combination platformer and puzzle game. Anyway, this is the exit to the first level, so so I'm still not 100% confident in my ability to provide interesting commentary, I'll admit. So you'll see that I just collected 6 of these little dudes. There's 6 of them in every level. And if I manage to collect all of them, I will be unlocking something special. With that said, I probably won't go out of my way to collect some of the more obscure ones. Also, listen to this music. This game and its sequel, which I'm going to be covering at some point, both have incredible soundtracks. And the other thing I'd like to mention here is this game is very obscure. I'm going to say this now. I am going to be preferring to play games that you guys won't have heard of, because that way I feel I have more room to explain things that I wouldn't normally. You know, like if I was to play something like a Sonic game and say you stay alive by collecting rings, how many of you already know that? How many of you will find that particularly interesting information? Because I'm going to say not a lot. I do have a particular fondness for obscure games, and the Klonoa franchise is a big part of the reason why. But it's also going to allow me to have more freedom when it comes to explaining, you know, what I'm doing in the game, because a lot of you may not realise it. Anyway, time for a roller coaster ride. Whee! The other thing is that I won't be discussing the game's story all that much. The reason why is because I badly don't want to end up spoiling it for you guys. So, you know, I'm gonna feel free to discuss the game's mechanics and, you know, some things about the game's development when it released, etc. But I won't be going into the story until a fair bit later on. And yeah, I like to kind of compare Klonoa to Portal, if you guys are familiar with that game. Portal is a first-person shooter game, you know, first-person style puzzle game. It looks like a shooter, it's actually a puzzle game. Klonoa is much the same, it looks like a platformer, but is in fact a puzzle game. With that said, the puzzles right now haven't really started to show themselves, because the game's only just started. It's, you know, it's introducing me to the mechanics before it actually ramps up the challenge with the puzzles. That blue fairy thing on the right there will provide me with double the gems that I'm collecting right now. If I collect 100 of them, I get an extra life, but I can also 100% complete a level by obtaining at least 150 in all levels. There are some levels where I can obtain more than 150, but as long as I have at least 150, the level will be counted as 100% completed. But yeah, the game is pretty clever. You know, it kind of reminds me of Kirby, because in Kirby you are using your enemies to gain new powers in order to allow you to progress through the levels. Klonoa takes that a step further, making it mandatory to use the enemies to finish the levels, and unlike Kirby, who only needs one enemy to permanently gain that enemy's power, Klonoa can only use an enemy's power once after picking it up. It's quite, you know, it's quite unique, and you know, definitely tells it apart from Kirby. I will say I'm not the biggest Kirby fan, but like Klonoa basically takes the concept of using an enemy's power and takes it to a whole new level and makes it a lot more interesting. So yeah, I really like the variety of aesthetics in this game as well. Like we'll have levels based around one particular area, but that won't mean that we'll be looking at the exact same thing throughout the entire level. Before recording this, I did say that I wouldn't go after every villager, but I'm doing it anyway, because I've played through this game so many times, I just memorized the locations of everything, and it's hard to not want to go after everything at the same time. And that said, I might have missed one. Nope, there it is. I need to collect this extra life, because there's a boss fight coming up. This game works, every 2 levels there's going to be a boss fight. And it's also not the longest of games either. I hope you guys don't mind me, like, you know, trying to persuade you to watch this, but this game and its sequel are really extremely important to me. We finally reached Bell Hill. Shh.
Yes, it is Leffings for sure. Well done, Joker.
I'm honored, Guardius, your darkness. Lefis, it's the diva we heard about.
A diva. I can't allow you to save the world with your silly song of rebirth. There's no need for rebirth. I shall imprison you in darkness and destroy the world. Well now, my Joker, where's that pendant?
Sire? Huh? This is strange. I can't find it.
What?
What are they looking for? They said a pendant. Who are they?
Ah, mice. Very well. Leffy's is in our hands. Joker, I'm counting on you to take care of the rest.
Yes, sire! What are they up to? I'm just going to use my normal voice for Klonoa, it's what I'm most used to. If I try to make it high pitched, I'm going to end up with Hipa and Klonoa sounding the same. Come out, my little micey! I guess we have no choice. Yeah. Just tush. I see we have little puny mice here. Well, I'll have to deal with you. Who are you? Oh my, kids these days don't have manners. Too bad. I'm going to have to punish you now. Whoa. Meet Rongo Lango. It's showtime! Oh, my dear Rongo Lango, what's your behind? Yeah, the game just, Joker's a bit of a goofball. He will just tell me how to beat his minions. And here we have the first boss fight. So, in the same way as Klonoa is very clever with its levels, it's also pretty clever with the boss fights as well. Because it will actually, the bosses have, on the same path as Klonoa, but again, the environment is entirely 3D, so the environment can actually loop infinitely. I can keep running to the left, and I'll never have to stop because we're running around a ring. The boss arena is effectively infinite. Honestly, this is one of the few 2D games that can actually do that. Have an infinite, level environment. There we go. Easy first boss. Hey! It's just you wait! I won't forget this! Hey, something fell. A pendant? Leffy's and a moon-shaped pendant. Let's ask Grandpa about all this. Okay.
Oh, Klonoa, you've really done it this time.
What have I done?
This is a crest of the Moon Kingdom.
The Moon Kingdom?
Uh-huh. It's the mystical kingdom they speak of in legends.
Klonoa? What about that guy in the tower? That's right. Hey, Grandpa, is there really a Moon Kingdom?
Perhaps there is, but then again, maybe not. Well, I'm worried about that Guardius character who kidnapped the girl. Either way, we need to take matters into our own hands now. Klonoa, tell 4 Like Forest's Granny about this.
Okay, I'm on my way.
The Moon Kingdom.
And with that, I'm going to end it there. More people voted for my videos to be 20 minutes above, more people voted for that than any other time period. So from here on, I'm going to try to keep my videos as close to 20 minutes as possible. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you for the next video. I really hope you'll watch this game though, because it's extremely important to me. If there's any one playthrough that I hope you'll watch, well, technically 2, because I'm hoping you'll watch the sequel when I tackle that one as well. it's Klonoa, because this game this game needs way more attention than it gets, and hopefully it will inspire you guys to create some fan art. I haven't really openly said this yet, but if you guys want to create fan art of any of the games that I play, I will be awarding the same prize for that, the same amount of points for that as I do for creating art for someone else, because technically you'll be creating art for me if you draw if you draw stuff based on the games that I play. So I hope you will consider that. See you for part 2.